I'm Jesselyn Hayes, and this is VCU InSight. Another week of testimony is wrapping up in the trial of the police officer accused of killing George Floyd. InSight's Hannah Eason talked to some folks here in Richmond who witnessed last summer's protests to get their reaction.
The trial is happening hundreds of miles away, but it's captured the attention of people right here in Richmond. People who were there when the protests broke out over the killing of George Floyd. People who are anxiously waiting for a verdict a year later. As the trial continues for the officer who held his knee on George Floyd's neck for more than 9 minutes, leading to the Minneapolis man's death, memories of tear gas, rubber bullets, and social justice protests fill the minds of many in Richmond, Virginia. Demonstrators demanded justice for Floyd and other unarmed African Americans who were killed by police. In Kentucky, Breonna Taylor. And in Richmond, Marcus David Peters. Now the country watches as a jury decides to either charge former Officer Derek Chauvin with murder or acquit him. Jimmy Lee Jarvis, an activist who attended and documented many of the protests in Richmond, said he sympathized with Darnella Frazier, the young woman who filmed the officer as he held Floyd down.
When I look at George Floyd, I look at my dad, I look at my brothers, I look at my cousins, my uncles, because they are all Black.
I feel for her so much, like the trauma that must have engendered, and you know, to be someone so young and to experience that, and then to be on the national stage.
Jarvis says documenting these interactions is a powerful personal sacrifice, and hopes Frazier's experience will encourage others to pull out their smartphones and do the same.
And the more people that are out there, you know, hopefully the less of a personal sacrifice it'll be for individuals, the more people who feel empowered to document things in their community that they don't think are right.
Journalist AJ Nwoko reported on the demonstrations for local TV station NBC 12. As the trial continues to dominate headlines each day, he remembers being caught in the crossfire in Richmond last summer. In some cases, being hit with tear gas.
Here I was caught in a situation where it's like, wow, I know what that tastes like. I know what that feels like. It really stinks. And if I don't have, you know, the camera and the microphone and all the other things protecting me, you know, I also saw, you know, people just really getting rocked by police, like really getting shoved down into the dirt and into the pavement and being arrested. And I'm not saying all the reasons were illegitimate while they were getting arrested, but you were seeing a lot of what people were having a problem with.
Nwoko frequently covers city government and saw the local crisis firsthand. The city phased out 2 police chiefs, removed 18 Confederate symbols, and many called for Mayor LeVar Stoney's resignation.
And then you start mixing it with the local instances of police brutality in cities like Richmond. You were seeing all of that come to a head, and it was in a way where you couldn't just PR your way out of it. It was in a way where it was ugly.
Less than 2 weeks into Chauvin's trial in Minnesota, another Black man, 20-year-old Dante Wright, was killed by police during a traffic stop, just 10 miles from where Floyd was killed. Almost a year after Floyd's death, protesters are again saying enough is enough.
You know, fingers crossed it doesn't happen like this, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot of fallout from this, no matter what the decision is. And we're going to be put in those same situations again. So it'll be interesting to see how well I or my colleagues or other people kind of walk that line of human being and reporter, and how we properly, accurately tell those stories of what's happening without pitting people against each other, and instead saying, no, look out your window. This is what's happening. Make up your own mind about it.
Vaccine numbers are on the rise. As of today, 1.8 million Virginians are fully vaccinated. Nearly 38% of people in Virginia have been vaccinated with at least 1 dose, and 22% have been fully vaccinated. Nationally, Virginia continues to rank in the top 15 in terms of the percentage of its population has been vaccinated. In total, nearly 5 million COVID-19 vaccines have been administered in the Commonwealth. The Johnson & Johnson vaccine is officially paused in the U.S., and that includes Virginia. Governor Northam called for an immediate pause of the vaccine following a federal investigation. 6 people who received the vaccine developed a rare disorder involving blood clots within 2 weeks of the dose. In the meantime, Virginia will continue to vaccinate with the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines. Despite the pandemic, a program here on VCU's campus is continuing its mission to provide students with enough to eat. VCU's Niall McNair has more.
Because 1 in 10 Virginians struggle with hunger, the Rand Pantry here at the Student Commons wants to make sure that no students go hungry. Joseph Mitchell has firsthand experience in fighting food insecurity here in Richmond. In February, the VCU student created a food drive where all donations went to VCU's Rand Pantry.
I love Richmond, and it's because I've met so many beautiful people that inspire that love.
Rand Pantry is an organization that looks to prevent the hunger of VCU students by providing them with a free inventory of food. Over 300 students visited the pantry during the fall semester. The start of the COVID-19 pandemic had an immediate impact on the pantry.
When COVID first hit last March, we emptied our entire shelves. So we took everything off, divided it into, I think, 120 boxes, and then just gave it out to our guests and our students and said, here, take this, because it was a year ago, so no one knew what all was going to happen.
After having to start fresh, Rand Pantry is now contact-free and the inventory is all online. Their other COVID procedures include letting all donations sit for 72 hours and doing appointments only. Aside from providing food, Rand Pantry also helps students get access to food stamps, other pantries, and identify their budget. Meanwhile, during the months of February and March, Mitchell organized the distribution of meals to the Jackson Ward community.
It's just been a fun experience to literally walk up to anybody we're seeing outside and be like, hey, can I learn more about you? Can I give you a quick meal? Can I just share a quick moment with you? And just having complete strangers be like, yeah, I would love to chat with you real quick, and just that exchange of love with people you don't even know.
For VCU InSight, I'm Niall McNair.
VCU says the details on fall sports are still a question mark. InSight's Jordan Adams has a look back on how the pandemic has affected VCU sports over the past year.
The VCU lacrosse team is out here practicing right now, and the hope for next fall is that there's more of this and far fewer canceled events. A year ago, the NCAA canceled the remaining winter and all spring sports, including March Madness. Because of the cancellation, winter and spring sports athletes were given an extra year of eligibility. Now all VCU sports are back on the field, court, and track. Reporting for VCU InSight, I'm Jordan Adams.
It's been a tough year for the restaurant industry. Cameron Branscombe has a story of one Richmond restaurant that's opening its doors.
A lot of restaurants have had to close due to the pandemic. In fact, over 50 restaurants in our area have closed within the last year. I met with one chef who's opening a new door here on Cary Street. Carlos Ordaz Nunez is living his dream of running his own restaurant. Only 6 months ago, he was cooking food in the parking lot. Most days, this is where you will find Carlos, selling food from his pop-up shop. His love for food is only matched by the love of the people that eat his food.
I love people. I love cooking. And I love the hospitality and I get really excited about like that moment of instant gratification when basically someone takes something that you made from scratch. Like I took raw ingredients and over the course of 6 to 18 hours, depending on how long it took me to make that dish, I made it into something that someone is going to enjoy in 15 minutes.
TBT El Gallo customer Theodore Khan says he stumbled across the restaurant after hearing about it on social media.
Facebook, actually. There was a bunch of people asking about a certain type of taco, and the tacos with the consomme, I think it's birria, and it seemed like something I'd really, really like to eat, so I was like, let's go there.
Now, 6 months later, Carlos and his team have opened up their brick-and-mortar store.
Stupid to me that this has become what it is. Like I said, 6 months ago, I was literally in a parking lot with my wife, and we were just hanging out, selling tacos. And now I'm having dreams I've had since I was a teenager come true. That blows my mind.
The new store, located on 2118 West Cary Street, now serves as the new home base. Familiar customers will notice the expanded menu as well. Here at TBT El Gallo, Carlos doesn't look to only serve up good food, but also likes to hand out some smiles as well. Carlos appreciates the sacrifices his parents made to help him get to where he is now. He said that watching his parents move from migrant workers to business owners themselves inspired him to become a restaurant owner. Carlos is trying to change the perception of Mexican restaurants and put Latinos in higher positions in restaurants.
In kitchens, like, you see so many Latinos in there, but you don't really see Latinos like leading the kitchen. You don't see the Latino with the, head chef, chef de cuisine, executive chef title, or owner title, unless it's like a Mexican restaurant. And unfortunately, in fine dining circles, Mexican restaurants aren't really respected, and that kind of bums me out.
Carlos describes his food as a broken Spanish, Latinx, modern restaurant. Carlos said that he does plan on doing pop-ups again.
Love the pop-ups. There's something beautiful about it, man. Like, there's something crazy fun about the fact that, like, hi, we're here. This is literally the only night we're going to be here. We're doing this menu today. This is your one shot to get this, and then we're out. Thank you.
TBT El Gallo updates their store hours and has a link for their pre-orders on their Instagram page. You can find them at TBT El Gallo. Reporting in Richmond, I'm Cameron Branscombe.